Hello everybody, this is Snarist, and welcome back to the channel. This is the second part to my Last Stand walkthrough series, and this is the Last Stand 2. Now, if you're new to this, and you haven't seen the first video, essentially what these games are is you're taking control of a survivor, and you have to gather resources using certain hours of the day in order to locate survivors, find new weapons, and repair your barricade to prepare against zombie attacks that occur during the night. Now, unlike the first game where it was just three categories, barricade repairs, searching for weapons, or searching for survivors, there is all that stuff, but now you've got to search actual buildings, and a lot of the weapons and stuff appear in the same places they normally do. There are a couple of exceptions, there's a bit of RNG in this. And while the gun control is a little bit better, as you go further throughout the game, your barricade will get weaker and weaker, meaning you've got to find resources and supplies throughout the buildings in whatever town or city you're in, and the more you find, the more you'll be able to travel. But you also have to consider that the further on you get through the game, the weaker your barricades will get. So instead of having like a maximum health of 80, it'll be like a maximum health of 60. So if you aim for the buildings that have those gun symbols, there's a good chance you'll find a weapon in there. But what I actually found is that if you want to look for survivors in this particular area of the game, you've got to look for the center, like at the apartments right in the center of town. That's what you want to go for. Now, in the beginning of the game, if you get the chainsaw, I'd recommend swapping to that over the pistol. Like, just take out the zombies from a distance that are walking towards you with the pistol, same with the dogs. But if anything else, you can always just use the chainsaw, because even though the chainsaw is definitely underpowered compared to the first Last Stand, it's still useful enough because, as I said before in the previous video, sometimes when the zombies stack up on the wall, you have a hard time hitting the heads of them. It's almost like they've been reinforced. But if you get the chainsaw, you can put it right between all of them and they all die equally fast. The problem is it's just got a very, very long reload time, unlike in the first game where it didn't have a long reload time, it was almost instant. So in the first night that I survived, and I'll be on to day 2, I tried my best to look in every building that had 3 hours worth of searching. That way I could cover 4 buildings in one go. But as time goes on, unfortunately, I still haven't found any survivors, and my barricade was getting very weak. Sometimes this will happen in the earliest nights. You'll have a very unlucky bout of dogs or zombies that run at you constantly, and so sometimes your barricade gets real weak and it's about to break when this is the beginning of the game, and no matter how well you do, sometimes you just get unlucky and have a bad horde come through on that night. But for the most part, it's pretty easy, and there's a pretty common rule when it comes to this game, and it's written on the map somewhere, and it says more supplies, or more population equals more of everything. Meaning, once you've got enough supplies to leave this town, you have to choose where you want to go to next, and you've got 2 choices. You can either go a little bit further north to Whistler's Grove, or you go a bit further to the east to Claysburg. And technically I think Claysburg is a shorter distance than Claysburg is, but at the same time, more population means more of everything. Claysburg is a city, or like a town, and Whistler's Grove is more like a small town or a village or something. And Whistler's Grove is technically easier than Claysburg, but you don't get as many supplies to travel, meaning you'll have to spend more time in certain areas in order to move on. And when that comes down to it, I'm going to pick to go to Claysburg. I'm going to empty out this entire town first. If you can empty out this whole town and get as many supplies as you can, which you want to go for 5 days worth of supplies, I think it's the most you can get in this part of the game. I forgot the name of the city. I'm sure it'll pop up somewhere, but yeah, Glendale. There we go. I completely forgot what it was called, but yeah, Claysburg has 2 main weapons that are really good. Both the Uzi and the UMP-45 are excellent. If you had to choose, I'd say the Uzi is a little bit better. The UMP is still good, but the Uzi is probably just a little bit better. And speaking of which, I go to Claysburg because there's more supplies to gather. I believe I do clear out the entire town as well in this walkthrough. But if you want to go to Whistler's Grove, that's also okay. It's just that when you go to Whistler's Grove, you're not going to have that many supplies left when you get to Aspenwood, because that's the sort of middle area that you have to go to on your way to get to Union City. But in Whistler's Grove, you've got the shotgun, which is very powerful, but unfortunately, because it's got such a slow reload, it doesn't really work that well. There is a bit of a bug with the shotgun where when you're about to reload it, and if you shoot prematurely, or if you shoot and keep spamming like shoot as you've reloaded all the shells, like all 8 shells, it does like a glitch where it double shoots. So that's kind of cool, but ultimately the shotgun isn't really that great. But you can find the compound bow as well, and the compound bow is super good. Like honestly, I think the compound bow is one of the best weapons in the game, because not only is it a one-shot, it can one-shot almost any zombie, just like the hunting rifle can. But here's the thing, it fires faster than the hunting rifle, so technically against most zombies and dogs and all that, the compound bow actually kills faster than the hunting rifle. But the reason why the hunting rifle is still the best is because you can shoot through zombies and hit them. And given how I would argue that these shooting sections here, it feels like it's a little bit smaller, and the zombies only ever seem to stick to 3 lanes instead of just going all over the place. So you've got more of a chance to actually land collateral shots. By the way, when you either go to Claysburg or Whistler's Grove, it introduces zombies that carry weapons, and if you see a zombie carrying a weapon on them, and you see them running towards the barricade, prioritize them immediately, especially if they're a fat zombie. Because if they run straight towards where a survivor is camped out and they have a melee weapon, there's a slight chance they won't kill them, but 9 times out of 10, when they swing down, if you don't kill them fast enough, then they will take out a survivor. Sometimes it's not fair enough, because they're just so fast and you're completely unprepared and caught off guard for it. There's no way you could have done anything about it. Sometimes survivors will die. That's unfortunate, that's just how it is. And by the way, I should probably mention as well that there's traps laid out. You can pretty much use them whenever you want, but the 3 you get, see, just like that. And so a survivor just got hit with a meat cleaver, I believe, and he's dead. And there was another zombie walking with a sledgehammer, and there's another one running with an axe. So you gotta be real careful. Out of all the traps, landmine is probably the most useful. Gas cylinders are kinda useless. See, he almost got killed by the machete guy there, but I managed to take him out before he got there. And the bear traps are still useful, but they're more of a deterrent rather than a solution. See, when you lay the bear traps out, if they're stuck in the bear trap for long enough, I think their legs get severed and they do die, but it takes a very long time for that to happen. Otherwise, they're pretty much just stuck exactly where they are. And when they're stuck where they are, you're free to shoot them. Now, there's a chance that they could run across them and trigger it, but there's also a chance that they won't trigger it. So you're best putting them in a line. The gas cylinders, if you're going to lay gas cylinders out, see, I'm getting a little nervous, so I'm putting out some bear traps. If you're going to put out gas cylinders, 9 times out of 10, you're going to end up shooting them by mistake. So the best place to put them is right against your barricade. Right against your barricade, wait for zombies to get close, because this happens with most nights, is that they'll have like 5 zombies rushing you at once. There's like an early rush, and so if you put a gas cylinder against your barricade, it's not going to damage it, but you will take out all the zombies pretty much that come towards you. But you have to keep in mind that they have a 1 radius explosive damage, meaning if you put 2 gas cylinders like on a diagonal or horizontal or vertical space next to them, then it's going to cause a collateral explosion. So let's say you put a gas cylinder against your wall. If you want to put 2 against the wall without it triggering an explosion, then you need to make sure that there's a 1 space gap between them. But I would recommend not putting it in the bottom corner there, the bottom right corner against your wall. Don't put it there, because your guns are aimed in such a weird way where you pretty much can't hit it, which is another thing too. Because even though you've got people that, survivors shooting zombies and everything, when it comes to the dogs, for some reason, when the dogs attack the lower right-hand side, like at the very bottom of the barricade, for some reason their hit detection doesn't work and they can't kill the dogs there. So you need to be the one who takes out the zombies in that bottom section there. So you just keep that in mind. Okay, so finally I've gotten the Uzi, and the Uzi's great. Now, I suppose I should explain, as we're rushing through the game right now, that I should explain that if you have any spare weapons like your pistol and your revolver, I forgot to assign the pistol to someone, they will always have like a small sort of like 1 or 2 shot pistol or whatever it is, very weak weapon, but all your other weapons that you've gathered along your journey, they'll always do more damage than whatever they're packing, so you just got to give them the next best thing. Now in Claysburg you can find a lot of supplies, and the reason I do this is because once we go to Aspenwood, it's like the countryside, and there's not that many places to search in Aspenwood, but that's because every building there is to search takes a long time to search, but it has some of the best gear you can find, like the hunting rifle. You definitely need to look for the hunting rifle, and if you don't get the hunting rifle on your first time into Aspenwood, you're definitely going to be in for a rough night, because Aspenwood is when things get really, really tough. Personally, I think Aspenwood is not quite as dangerous as Jonestown, which is like a massive city that takes place right before Union. But what I'm going to be doing in this is I'm going to be staying in Claysburg and basically emptying out all of the major stations and warehouses and storage areas. And then as soon as I've gotten all the supplies that I think I can muster, I'm going to go to Aspenwood, and then I'm going to clear out most, if not all of Aspenwood. And then when I've done that, I should have enough supplies to immediately go to Jonestown, and then from Jonestown immediately go to Union City and end the game. Now from there you can actually go, if you have less supplies and you're worried about losing the next night and you don't think you can hold out on them, then you can actually go. See, that was an example of a zombie that took a swing at a survivor but still missed. That doesn't really happen often, but lucky for me. You can go to this fortress place, I forgot what it's called, it's like Fort something, but if you search around well enough you can actually find an RPG and an M249, but that's more of like a fun optional area rather than like something practical. I vaguely remember when I was younger going to that fortress and then getting those 2 guns and just loading up and seeing how long I could survive, even if it meant like a game over when I got to Union City finally. I just wanted to see how many days and nights I could last. But in any case, yeah, once we've cleared out here, I believe I don't bother with this, or maybe I do. Yeah, I do. So I've got 7 days of travel supplies needed. The rest I just spent on repairing my barricade, and we found 1 survivor and some bear traps, but we didn't find any more supplies. So yeah, however many supplies it took to get us from Glendale to Claysburg, if you clear out everything, then when you get to 7 days worth of travel supplies, then you can leave if you want to. I just thought I'd try to find as many survivors as I could. But yeah, by the end of this night I'll be moving on to Aspenwood, and then I'll be looking around for the hunting rifle, and as soon as I get it, I'll be able to hang out in Aspenwood for 3 or 4 nights. 5 days onwards is pretty risky for Aspenwood. If you're well prepared and you find good loot and you've got plenty of great weapons that you can give survivors, and you've got like maximum survivors like I've got right now, 4 of them, and you've got the odd landmine or gas cylinder or a bunch of bear traps, then you can pretty much hold out in Jonestown for a few nights. But Jonestown is really not a place that you want to hang out in. You want to avoid it as much as you can, because Jonestown can be very, very dangerous. So that's our final night in Claysburg. Now we're moving on to Aspenwood, and I believe I do get the hunting rifle first thing. So I also believe we have enough supplies, 5 days. We have enough left to get to Jonestown, but that means we'd have to stay in Jonestown for a night or 2 looking for supplies. And I've had a lot of bad experiences in Jonestown, so I decided not to. So you want to make sure that you look in the sheriff's office, and you want to look for the farmhouse out in the open, and then from here you can kind of just pick and choose. Oh no, I tell a lie. You go to the gas station, maybe that has something. No, what am I going to do? No, I'm going to take it off. Yep. I decided to search these 2 buildings here close by. And yep, I got the sawn-off shotgun and the hunting rifle. Didn't find anything else, but I got the hunting rifle. I'm giving the guy UMP, my Uzi, a sawn-off, and he's got the revolver. I got some bear traps here, but because I know that all the supplies I'll need for the rest of the journey ahead is here in Aspenwood, if I could just hold out for a few nights, well, There we go, hunting rifle action time. I don't know what the deal is with the longer nights you survive. I know there's more zombies that you have to deal with, but I don't know if they necessarily get stronger in terms of how much damage they can take. I just think there's more zombies you have to deal with, so the nights get a little bit longer. Like by 1 or even 2 zombies. It all depends really. But yeah, see, you can take off their heads pretty cleanly, you can get collaterals. It sounds so damn good. Like, I muted the game a little bit in order to do this commentary, but, you know, it really doesn't do it justice. Like, if you've ever played this game yourself, like, it's 20 bucks Australian on Steam right now. And it sounds so good. It's like if you ever played Modern Warfare 2 back in the day, back in 2009, just the intervention, how good that sounds, it's sort of like this, although I think this is more satisfying personally. By the way, I should mention here with the SWAT guys, you can hit them in the head and kill them, but they've got body armor, so they'll tank your shots. Then you've got the green military dudes. You can hit them in the head a couple times with the hunting rifle and it'll kill them, maybe 3 times at most. But ideally, if you ask me, you probably need to aim for the legs, because not only if you shoot them through the legs, there's a good chance that you'll be able to hit them and kill them, and as well as hitting zombies on the other side. See, I was very lucky there. If you aim north, especially if you go for the diner, because diner usually means like food or supplies, then I'm not sure if the diner had all 2 of those days of supplies, or if it just, if it had at least 1 of them, and maybe I got lucky with one of the farmhouses, but yeah. There's not that long of a travel to Jonestown, but it's a very long travel from Jonestown to Union City. So again, you can go to the fortress straight after if you want to, but you need to hope that you find plenty of supplies and you find the M249 at the you know, at the very least, if not the RPG, because otherwise you're going to be in for a real struggle, because there's going to be a lot of military zombies and you're not going to be prepared for it if you don't have one of those 2 weapons. Yeah, by the way, if you still haven't found the hunting rifle when you get to Aspenwood and you spend a couple of days in there, I would not be surprised if you're already struggling to defend it, where you spend more time trying to repair your barricade and just trying to get by, rather than searching. And it's kind of what I love about this game and how intense it can get. Just the idea that if you do really badly, you've got to spend more time keeping the barricade up and running, and your survivors can actually die in combat. And sometimes, no matter what you do, you can't help it, and they get killed anyway. But I'm feeling pretty damn confident already in what I can do, so I'm just going for the bigger buildings and repairing the barricade with the remaining hours. And I did find some more bear traps, but I didn't find any more supplies. So given what the time looks like, I probably think this is my last night. So what I'm doing with the gas cylinders here is I'm putting one at the very top and one at the very bottom. That was a mistake. What you should be doing is putting the gas cylinder at the bottom, just 1 step above it. See, even the other threat allies of yours can trigger the gas cylinders. That's why they're largely useless. The landmines have the exact same effect as the gas cylinders, but you can't shoot them to detonate them, so they have to walk across them to detonate it. It's a lot more reliable, but I'm pretty sure... See, look at that! I've never actually seen that before. I was a little bit baffled when I saw that when I was playing the game. I've never seen a zombie carrying a weapon that runs up, slashes, and kills 2 survivors at the same time. I had no idea they could do that. I don't know if it's part of the Legacy Collection update, you know, back in 2021 when they released it, because this is like a late 2000s or like 2010 game. I forgot what year it came out. You know, this is one from my childhood, you know, back when Flash games were free and online and you didn't have to go looking into the deep recesses of the web to find it, but it was really crazy that there's actually quite a few bits of weirdness that I found in this game that I didn't really notice before. But yeah, that gas cylinder in the very bottom, I can't even hit that. Like, the angle's just too awkward, I can't hit that. So I should have moved it upwards, but again, it can get shot by your allies, this and that. And no, I actually do decide to finish off Aspenwood. And yeah, you get 2 supplies. So Aspenwood actually has quite a few supplies. If you search further up north in Aspenwood, or if you search to the far east in the corner, then you'll find plenty of supplies. If you want the hunting rifle, then you've got to aim for the areas that have guns in it, in particular the sheriff's office and the farmhouse, I think, that has the gun symbol on it. That's for your best chance. That's the first thing you want to try and find before supplies or anything else. But yeah, 11 supplies. So I've got more than enough to go to Jonestown, and then from Jonestown to go to Union City. It's just one of those things where You can still find quite a bit of supplies in Aspenwood, but if you don't find everything and you don't loot everything you can from Glendale to Claysburg to Aspenwood, then you're going to have to stay in Jonestown for at least one night, hoping that you've found enough supplies, like say at the 7-Eleven, because there is a 7-Eleven location that you can find, or like a food store or something, in order to find supplies, getting lucky, but you may have to spend 1 or 2 nights in Jonestown. If you can't defend Aspenwood anymore, like you've got no survivors or you've only got 2 survivors like I do, and your barricade is faltering, then by all means, feel free to just bugger off to Jonestown, even though you're going to have to still have a bit of a struggle in the long run. Think of it as a chance for you to get a fresh barricade back that's exactly the same strength, and you've got your 2 survivors and you've got a chance to search for more weapons that you can equip them with, and more like items to spread throughout the land. So while I would like to show you some stuff to do with Jonestown in order to, give you a better idea of what you're dealing with, I think it's just more realistic to stick to the earliest areas. Stick to the earliest areas, loot whatever you can, do extremely well, and as you make your way into Jonestown, which is undoubtedly the hardest part of the game, you can skip it entirely if you search well enough. But anyway, that's enough out of me. This has been The Last Stand 2. Unfortunately, because of what I said in the first video, there's a reason why I'm not playing The Last Stand Union City, or at least I have no plans to play Union City, although I definitely could in the future if you really want it. That's enough out of me. I'll let you guys go. Thanks for watching.